Julie Davison and Susan LaCroix, wherever she is. Welcome to Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie, part one. We have a very special episode for you today. We're doing our Sunday Stamp Along. I love doing this because it's a great chance for not only us to stamp together, but also to stamp with all of you. And so we hope that you've got your project materials ready to go to stamp with us. You can find them in the video description if you're watching the replay, and we'll share them in just a moment. But before we do that, here we are on Zoom because we just did not get a chance to film together as we had hoped to on our short visit to Michigan this week. We were so close.
We were
We were pushing it to the last minute, and we were enjoying stamping together. We enjoyed a lot of stamping together time, but we just ran out of time to turn the camera on and to film our videos. So
I mean, we were literally prepped, but Julie had a deadline because Claire had to be back for a softball game that she was playing in, and so time was critical. So I finally just called it and said, okay, not going to happen. I don't want you rushing on the road. So I'd rather you get home safely and we film in different locations than to try to film here and then have something happen. I wouldn't have been able to handle that. So,
and while I love stamping together in person, and I know you guys like to watch us stamp in person, I have to say, I feel so much more relaxed stamping together here at home, even though it is on Zoom. And that's what I hope you all feel when you stamp, is just to be relaxed and to enjoy the process and not be trying to pack up and and leave while also stamping a project. That's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we want this to be fun. That's the whole point of it, right?
Exactly. So I think we should get started.
and we are together.
Yes, we're still together. I always love stamping on Zoom like this, and I know you guys enjoy this format so much. Our schedules are a little crazy, particularly mine, and so it's not always easy to do this together on Zoom like we did it in the past. And so I always appreciate when we do have the opportunity to stamp like this, and it's always so much fun. So,
all right.
Okay, I'm going to switch the camera to my desktop. Today we are doing our Sunday Stamp Along, and so I wanted to share those measurements with you in case you don't have your stuff ready. First of all, we are encouraging you to use designer paper with our projects today because there is a designer paper sale happening in August. And so you can save 15% off some annual catalog designer paper, including some returning favorites like the Bright and Beautiful, the Countryside Inn, the Perennial Lavendar, and the Winter Meadow. The other papers are all brand new in the annual catalog, and no matter which package you choose, it's $10.62 in the United States for one of these amazing paper packs. So Mom and I in our projects are going to be sharing different designer papers. So between the two videos, we're going to try to showcase as many amazing papers as we can. Don't forget to redeem your bonus day coupons if you are purchasing from the designer paper sale, their online exclusives, or any of the amazing things in the online store. You can redeem those $5 coupons that you earned last month. You can redeem them right now in August. So let's talk about my
Hey, Julie.
Yeah.
Before you go on, I was sitting here and I was figuring out that with the paper packs being $10.62 US dollars, if you use one of your bonus coupon to buy a pack of paper, it's $5.62.
I know, isn't that amazing?
For a pack of designer paper.
I think that's so awesome. I'm bringing back one of my returning favorites, the Perennial Lavendar designer paper. We first saw this one in the January through April mini catalog, and it's a 12 by 12 designer paper. I just cut it down to show you a little bit easier, but I love that we've got this crumb cake sort of background on all the patterns. The colors include Highland Heather, gorgeous grape, some pretty peacock, berry burst, a little fresh freesia in there, just absolutely gorgeous paper. And I was just at mom's house and she's got like a few packages stocked up from from the mini catalog. She is loving this paper just as much as I do. So happy that it's carried over. I'm pairing it with another carryover item. It's not on sale, but these awesome paper butterfly accents. And I showed these in a recent video, my last 12 days of Christmas video, actually, which was filmed at mom's house. And she helped me create this card. So for this one, if you didn't see that video, I laid out the paper butterflies and I spritzed over the top of them to create that kind of background effect. And then mom, I love this idea. She used the sponge dauber to sponge one of the paper butterflies to make them black. And then we added it here onto the card. So let me show you, while I'm talking about that paper, some more of my favorites combining the Perennial Lavendar designer paper and the paper butterfly accents. These are all cards that I originally made and shared in the springtime when we had that January through April mini catalog. But this designer paper is just so beautiful. And so I decided to use it on my project today. Now, if you're stamping along with us, you're going to need a cardstock base. This is just 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. Then I have two pieces of designer paper that are 2 inches by 4 inches. For our greeting, I have a 3/4 by 2.5 inch accent layer, and then a 1 by 1.5 inch greeting. And if you need to change the length of this a little bit or make it narrower, whatever you need to fit your greeting. This I suggested 1 by 1.5, and I'm using crumb cake and Pretty Peacock. And then I suggested a stamped, punched, or die cut image, which is optional. You could just stick with the greeting, but I decided to bring in one of those paper butterflies. And then, of course, ribbon and embellishments as desired. So however you want to finish off your card. Before we get started with stamping, I'm going to switch the camera around to Mom, who's going to change her camera view to her desktop. And she's going to show you the designer paper that she has selected for our first project.
All right. So I couldn't decide. So I love the Bright and Beautiful. That's a carryover. And then this one is the Full of Life. Is that it?
Yes.
Full of Life. So I kind of picked some colors that went with it. And when I got everything laid out, I still couldn't decide. So we'll see what I come up with here. I don't know if you can see it. Am I in camera? I'm
Oh,
also
now we can see those
Oh.
paper scraps.
Okay, there we go. I also pulled out the Choose Happy. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but that's what I pulled out. So
That's so cute. I don't have that stamp set yet. I'm excited to see how you're going to use it.
okay, and I pulled out some embellishments too, some of the iridescent sequins and some of the rainbow adhesive. So I kind of got this stuff on my desk here.
Awesome. Do you have any of the other paper pieces from those paper packs or not handy?
I do. They're in cello bags. Let me I can get them ready. Well, no, let me just try to do this real quick. I didn't think we were doing this, so I didn't.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Well, we'll get started stamping, and then if you have a chance to reach over and grab it, you can share it when you share your finished cards. And if you don't, that's fine. You can see all the designer papers that are available right now, including online exclusive designer papers in the online store. And I think that's the best kind of index because it includes everything. So, all right, I'm going to switch it back over to my desktop for stamping, but we'll check back in with Mom and see how those cards turn out. My card is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. So I feel like this is going to be, it's going to be pretty short. We'll see if Mom has time to make two cards. I should have prepped another designer paper. I do have another sample to share with you, but not one that I'm making. I chose one of my favorite stamp sets called Simply Said. I just love the variety of greetings in this one. Two different style fonts with the serif font and then the script font. I just think this goes with so many different things. So if you're just using some designer paper to create some cards, this is a perfect stamp set to use that will be versatile enough for any of those designer papers. So I'm going to start with my stamping, and I chose Thinking of You. And I'm pulling out a little bit of peacock from this designer paper for the accent color. I don't know how you can see that. It's just sort of the stem. So it's not a lot of peacock. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think that it'll bring that peacock out in the designer paper. I'm going to stamp the Thinking of You on the cardstock for the sentiment. And one thing I did realize that I forgot to do, Mom asked me right before we started the video, is there an inside piece? And I forgot to add that to the list. And so I don't really have a plan for the inside, but if I did, I would just use like a 4-inch by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock, and perhaps I would bring in another stamp. So Thinking of You, and then maybe I would say Miss You on the front. I'm I'm getting ready in a few weeks to move Claire back to school, and I just know I'm going to miss having her around so much. And Thomas is also getting ready to move out, and so I'm going to miss him too. I just feel like um, I'm not ready for all these big changes that our family is having. Are you there, Mom?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm listening.
I didn't see your hands. I looked I looked up and I didn't see your hands, and I thought maybe you got up.
No,
I'm adding these pieces to the inside of my card, and you can add this later to your card, but I just wanted to take up a little more time. So for the inside, I'm just gonna bring in the designer paper, and I stamped that little sentiment. So this is just something I'm adding on here, but like I said, you can always do this later because I didn't have these pieces on my original list.
I'll be doing mine later.
What's that?
I'll be doing my insides later.
Yeah. All right, so we got all our pieces stamped. And since I'm using the laser cut butterfly, I didn't need to do any of the stamping and die cutting there because it was already done for me. So if you are doing your stamping now, it might take you a little bit longer to finish your card, but let's go ahead and put it together, and then you can add on and finish up your card. And I would love for you to share your samples when you're all done. Take a picture and share what you've created in Julie's Stamping Spot Share and Connect group on Facebook. And Mom's got a Facebook group as well. You can share the cards that you make for her video over in her group. And then we can see what you've created, and that will be just so much fun. So I hope that you will consider sharing with us. I've put adhesive on the backs of my designer paper, and I am going to layer them on the front. I like to have a little angle here, one in each corner, and have them overlap. But if you don't like the angle, you can always put them straight. That's totally up to you. And then I'm going to add my piece to the inside. And our sentiment, which we stamped, is going to get layered onto the accent strip. I'm just using some regular Stampin' Seal adhesive here, but then I'm going to take the whole sentiment with that accent strip on there and add some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. And add it to our project. Now, I purposely chose to have a more plain piece of cardstock there so that I could have the butterfly and it would stand out. But if you just had two different patterns of designer paper here, you might just put your greeting on and find that that's enough and that you don't need any more. But if you have some die cuts or some images that you want to accent your greeting, you're going to add those on. I would put Stampin' Dimensionals on this, but it is so detailed and fine that I don't even think I could get the mini Stampin' Dimensionals on there in a meaningful way. So I'm just using some liquid glue to add the paper butterfly to my card.
Hmm.
And of course, I've got to add some bling. So I chose to use the adhesive backed sequins trio. And this has pink and pretty peacock and white in it. And I love this. It has carried over now. I think it's been in the catalog for a year or two. And pretty peacock is just one of my favorite colors. And so I'm gonna use some of those peacock ones to bring that color back into the card and to finish it out. So there's my finished card with the perennial lavender. I did make another version of this when Mom and I were stamping at her house, and I used the citrus blooms, the Mediterranean blooms, to create this card with 2 strips of designer paper and then a die cut orange. And I used lemon lolly and garden green on here. I think I cut the green a little too small. I was looking at the measurement wrong. And I also added some stamped flowers in the corner. So I just added a little something there. If you wanted to, you could do a whole another layer with like a 4 by 5 1/4. But I liked to just have the designer paper kind of take up the front and be the star of the show. How's it going there, Mom?
It's going. I had one idea I had didn't quite work, so I'm gonna do that, do some of that, I think, a little bit later. But I am putting on some embellishments. And then I will be ready to show you.
Excellent. Well, you're on the screen. I'm going to take myself off so that we
Oh,
can
oh,
get a closer look and see what you've been doing. Oh, cute.
all right. So I think I'm gonna put, I was gonna put that, now I'm gonna put blue.
I
Uh,
love the colors of those paper, especially that full of life paper with the polka dots and the stripes. They are just so much
oh,
fun.
thanks. What I did, because I used the birthday greeting. Okay. No, I'm gonna come down here with this one. Should have used my take a pick tool. Is I pulled out the little candle because I'm doing birthday.
Oh,
And I did stamp them. I just pulled out my Versamark and but I don't think you can see them. And
are
I
they
just,
stand? Oh, on the cards? Oh, I see it kind of.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to get a darker ink to do that.
I think it would be fun to stamp the candles on the designer paper that you have, like the background paper. So the paper on the
Okay,
right.
maybe I'll,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, you could just kind of customize the designer paper and just kind of stamp those all
Yeah,
over. And
yeah. Well, that was my thought and process anyway with these cards. So, like I said, I couldn't decide. So I did them both real fast, and I'm liking how they turned out actually.
yes, well, I love this layout. And if you've watched me before, I feel like I use this layout every now and then because it's just so easy and such a great way to show off designer paper. So especially with this designer paper sale, I felt like it was just such a good fit for it. Well,
Yeah,
how about we turn the camera around and we can show off our cards together? What do you think?
sounds good.
There's our finished cards with our first stamp along project. I can't wait to see how your cards turn out. So make sure to share them with us on Facebook or however you connect with us. We'd love to see them.
Yeah.
And we're not done stamping. It is time to head over to Mom's channel for part 2 of our Sunday stamp along. And she has a project that she's sharing with us and some measurements so you can follow right along.
Oh,
Do you have anything to add before we head over to your channel, Mom?
nope. I did have to kind of readjust my measurements, and what I did, many of you saw it, and I readjusted it, and then I did a quick, like literally 4-minute video the other day and posted it to show the new measurements and what I'm using to give you an idea. So hopefully I've taken care of any confusion the new measurements are causing. So if you saw me on Facebook, that I also updated those, and also my blog. And
I think the changes were pretty minimal. So if you have the stuff prepared, based on the measurements last week. I think there's just like a couple additions, but make sure to click on Mom's video description when you head over to her video just to make sure you've got everything you need. And we'll
Yeah.
be getting started in just a few minutes over there.
Yes, we will.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed our Sunday Stamp Along, please give this video a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe to our channels so you don't miss out on future Sunday stamping videos. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Love you.
Bye, Jay. Love you.